No one in the town could believe what was born that night. Two black twins with a secret no one could explain. It was 1862, a small, quiet town, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone. But on one stormy night, the impossible happened. A mother screamed in the candlelit room, pain and fear mixed in every cry. The midwife rushed, her hands trembling. Then silence. Two babies, two black twins, born minutes apart, yet identical in every impossible way. The father, he couldn't speak, his eyes wide. The town's gossip would say it was a miracle. Others whispered darker things. From the very first moments, they were different. One cried, the other calmed instantly. One's touch could soothe the other. Neighbors noticed strange things. A cat that hissed at everyone except them. A lamp that flickered whenever they were near. By day, they were children. By night, whispers spread. Some claimed they could see things no one else could, predict things no one dared predict. School was impossible. The teacher gave them the same lesson, and both solved it faster than any older student, faster than anyone had ever seen. People started staring, pointing, some in awe, some in fear. Rumors grew like wildfire. Gifted, yes, but unnatural. Something impossible, perhaps even cursed. The mother tried to protect them. She spoke softly at night, rocking them to sleep. "You are special," she whispered, "but be careful. The world is not ready for you." And the twins, they seemed to understand, not just words, but emotions, thoughts, secrets. By the time they could walk, they were already leaving trails of awe. A neighbor's lost dog found its way home, not by scent, not by sound, but following the twins' voices. A local farmer swore his crops grew taller, faster, after the twins had played among the fields. Even the skeptical townsfolk began to notice strange coincidences, impossible events, and the impossible secret still hidden. Some tried to study them, others tried to fear them, but no one could understand. The twins didn't know why they were this way, only that the world was both fascinated and terrified. And this was just the beginning of a story that would baffle, shock, and haunt the town forever. If you want the next parts, they will dive into their childhood, the first signs of their extraordinary gifts, and the whispers that began to spread. If this story gives you chills, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps reveal more secrets from history. By their third birthday, the town whispered a new word: miracle. The twins were growing, fast, too fast, not just in body, but in mind. Their first steps were unusual. They didn't stumble like other children. They walked with purpose, as if the ground itself obeyed them. At the edge of the forest, they discovered birds trapped in a cage. One whispered a soft sound, and the cage opened. The birds flew free. Neighbors began noticing strange things. A horse that refused to drink suddenly quenched its thirst near them. A river that flooded retreated at their laughter. School was a nightmare for the teacher. No matter the lesson, the twins solved it before anyone else could even write the first word. Gifted, the teacher whispered, but fear lingered in his eyes. One afternoon, a young boy vanished near the woods. Panic spread. The townsfolk searched for hours. Then the twins appeared, hand in hand, leading the boy out unharmed. No one could explain how. Even their parents were growing uneasy. Strangers came, scientists, travelers, anyone claiming knowledge. They wanted to see the twins' abilities. The family refused. "You are theirs," the mother warned quietly. But the world, The world is not kind to those it does not understand. The twins, they began to communicate silently, not just with each other, but with animals, with the wind, with objects that seemed alive. Rumors turned to fear. Witchcraft, some cried. Angels, others whispered. No one could agree, and no one dared come too close. By night, the twins would sit by the fireplace, talking in low voices, sharing secrets they did not yet understand themselves. It was a gift and a burden. The town's fascination grew, but so did the danger, because when the impossible is witnessed, curiosity turns to obsession, and in 1862, obsession could be deadly. The twins had survived storms, whispers, and fear, but the real test was only beginning. If you're captivated by the twins' impossible secret, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Every share brings the story closer to the world. The twins were about to show the town a secret no one would ever forget. By age 5, they were no longer just children. They were enigmas. The town gathered for the annual fair, a simple celebration. But that day would change everything. A man's prized horse bolted. Crowds screamed. Chaos spread like wildfire. The twins stepped forward, hand in hand, silent, calm, unstoppable. The horse stopped. No reins, no commands, just the twins' quiet presence. The crowd gasped. Whispers turned to murmurs, murmurs turned to fear. People began noticing patterns. Things happened around the twins, things that defied logic. A missing child returned, a fire quietly extinguished, a river flowed backward for a moment, and everyone who saw it trembled. Word reached neighboring towns. Curiosity turned to obsession. Strangers came, some with kindness, others with hidden motives. But the twins, they didn't care. They only acted when necessary. They only spoke in whispers, the world's noise meaningless to them. Their parents, proud yet terrified. They understood their children were gifts, but gifts so powerful they could be dangerous. At night, the twins sat beneath the stars. They spoke of visions, of events before they happened, of people's secrets before anyone had told a word. Neighbors began avoiding them. Some crossed the street, others locked doors. Fear, stronger than curiosity, took hold. And yet, the twins never intended harm. They only were. But the town, the world, could never understand. Because in 1862, a secret like theirs was a curse as much as it was a gift. If you're stunned by what the twins can do, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this story to see how far their impossible secret will reach. Strangers arrived, and with them, questions no one should ask. Word of the twins' gifts spread beyond the town. Letters traveled. Strangers came by horse and carriage, some polite, some dangerous. One evening, a tall man in a black coat arrived, eyes sharp, notebook in hand. He introduced himself as a scientist. Curiosity masked his fear. He asked questions, too many questions. Questions about abilities, about the impossible, about secrets the twins didn't even know they had. The twins, quiet, observing him, seeing more than he imagined. The townsfolk whispered warnings. Beware the outsiders. They do not come for kindness, but for control. The scientist insisted on observing the twins, taking notes, testing limits, measuring reactions. But the twins, they didn't follow his rules. They moved things without touching. They predicted actions before he could act. Fear crept into the stranger's eyes. He tried to rationalize, but reason failed. Rumors of miracles became rumors of witchcraft. Fear turned violent. Neighbors began looking at the twins with suspicion. Some even crossed themselves when passing their home. The mother fought to protect them. She kept them close at night, whispered prayers, told them to stay hidden. But the twins, they couldn't hide forever. One night, the twins vanished, not for long, but long enough for the town to panic. They were found at the edge of the forest, standing silently by an old oak tree. The stranger, furious, baffled, could not understand. The twins' abilities were no longer just a secret, they were a puzzle, a threat, a fascination all at once. And in 1862, the wrong people were watching. People who didn't care about innocence, only power. The twins were about to face the first real danger in their young lives, a danger that would test the limits of their gift and the strength of their bond. If the twin story keeps you on the edge of your seat, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this next to uncover the secrets that even the world couldn't explain. Danger was no longer a shadow. It had arrived at their doorstep. The town was restless. Fear had grown teeth. Whispers became accusations. They are not like us. Something unnatural walks among us. Witchcraft, some screamed. One stormy night, a group of men marched toward the twins' home, torches in hand, determined, furious. The mother tried to block them. Her voice trembled. "Please, they are children." But the men would not listen. The twins stood silently behind her, their eyes calm, but inside, a storm of understanding. A torch touched the door. The wind howled. The fire flickered unnaturally. The men stumbled. One lunged forward. The candle in his hand went out, and his shadow froze on the wall. The twins stepped outside, hand in hand. The rain soaked them, but they didn't flinch. The men froze. Fear rippled through the crowd. Something about the twins, something impossible, stopped them in their tracks. The twins spoke quietly, a whisper barely heard over the storm, and yet everyone heard it. The men dropped their torches, ran. Some never looked back. The town was silent. The impossible had shown itself. But this victory was not theirs alone. The twins knew people were watching, from shadows, from faraway towns. Some wanted to study them. Some wanted to control them. Some wanted to destroy them. The mother embraced them, whispered words of love and warning. You are powerful, but power draws eyes, eyes that do not see good. Remember that. The twins understood, not just words, but danger. It was part of their life now, and it would grow. 1862 had begun to notice them. The world had begun to whisper their impossible secret, and the storm was only getting stronger. If the twins' story chills you to the bone, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this story to see what happens when the impossible walks among us. The world outside the town was no longer content to whisper. It demanded answers. The strangers returned. Not one, but a group, men in black coats with notebooks and strange instruments, claiming to study, but the twins could see their fear and their intent. The townsfolk watched from windows, afraid, curious. Some wondered, should they stop them? The twins, they felt it before the visitors even spoke. The pull of attention, the weight of curiosity, a strange pressure, like the air itself was thick with eyes. One visitor stepped forward. "Show me," he demanded. "Prove what you are capable of." The twins didn't answer. They didn't need to. A candle floated from the table, not by hand, by will alone. It spun in the air, then stopped, pointing at the visitor. The men gasped. One stumbled backward. Another whispered, "It's impossible." The twins moved together, hand in hand. Energy radiated from them, subtle yet undeniable. A glass shattered, a door slammed, the wind howled inside the room, and the men froze, eyes wide. The twins didn't speak, not yet. They only observed, learning, understanding the limits of this strange world. But power, like a growing storm, is never contained for long. By nightfall, strange phenomena had spread through the house. Objects moved on their own, footsteps echoed where no one walked, shadows danced against the walls. The strangers took notes, trembling hands, scribbling in fear. They whispered theories about energy, about the impossible, about what could not exist. But the twins, they were children, children with no malice, only instinct, only understanding of things others could not grasp. Outside, the townsfolk murmured, rumors of witches, miracles, angels, fear and fascination mixing like storm clouds. The mother watched, her heart a battlefield of pride and terror. "These are my children," she whispered, "and no one, not the world, not even these men, will harm them if I can help it." The twins at night would sit by the fireplace. They whispered to each other, not words, but feelings, visions, thoughts, understanding things no one else could, secrets, dangers, and gifts beyond measure. But one truth became clear: the world would never accept them, not as they were, not with the impossible inside them. The visitors left, for now, frightened, bewildered. The notes they carried were full of questions, questions the twins had no answers for. The twins understood one thing above all: their secret was alive. It demanded protection, and it demanded vigilance. 1862, a year of war, fear, and change, now had another story, a story of two children and a secret that defied every law known to man. If you're amazed by the twins' impossible powers, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this story to reveal the secrets no one could explain. Even miracles have their shadows, and the twins were beginning to feel theirs. The twins had seen wonders and horrors. They could move objects, see the unseen, understand secrets no one should know. But power was heavy. Some nights they cried in silence, not for themselves, but for the world that could never understand them. The townsfolk had grown wary. Some whispered behind their hands, others avoided them entirely. Even friends had begun to doubt. "You are different," one classmate said, not angry, but afraid. The twins only nodded. They already knew. The mother tried to teach them normalcy, simple games, stories by the fireplace, but the twins could not pretend. The world had marked them, and they were not children anymore. One evening, by the river, the twins discovered something terrifying: a fish trapped in shallow water, screaming for life. They reached out instinctively, and the water rose. The fish swam free. But the moment left a mark. The twins realized their powers were not harmless. Every act could alter the world. Every thought could change a life. Fear settled in their hearts. Could they control it? Could they ever be normal? The father, silent, distant, feared for their souls. "Your gifts, they are blessings," he said quietly, "but the world sees them as curses." The twins huddled together that night, sharing thoughts without words, a bond stronger than blood, stronger than fear, stronger than the impossible. They knew one truth: the secret was alive, and the secret demanded understanding before the world demanded obedience. The town continued to watch, with suspicion in their eyes, every glance a question, every whisper a threat. And the twins, even with their gifts, were children, children facing a world that feared their very existence. 1862, a year already soaked in war and sorrow, now held another storm, a storm wrapped around two small bodies and an impossible secret that could not be ignored. If the twin struggle touches you, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this story to keep their impossible secret alive. The truth could no longer stay hidden, and when it came out, the town could barely breathe. It was a quiet morning. Fog rolled over the fields. The twins walked hand in hand, unaware of the eyes that followed them. A stranger approached, notebook in hand. The same group that had visited before. He demanded answers. Show me the truth, now. The twins looked at each other. No words passed, no fear, just understanding. And then it happened. The air shimmered, objects trembled, the trees leaned toward them as if listening. One twin raised a hand, a bird hovered mid-flight, then landed, perfectly balanced, on the stranger's shoulder. The other twin closed their eyes, and in that instant, visions appeared. The stranger saw things he could not explain, events, knowledge, secrets that belonged only to the twins. The townsfolk, gathered in fear, watched in silence, mouths open, hearts pounding. This was no trick, no illusion. It was real. The impossible secret was revealed. The twins could see the past and glimpse the future. They could feel emotions, intentions, secrets hidden deep in people's hearts. They could move the world without touching it. Some cried, some prayed, some ran. Fear had finally met the impossible. The mother held her children tightly. Remember, she whispered, power is a gift, but also a burden. The visitors were stunned. No notebook, no words could capture what they had just witnessed. The twins' secret was beyond reason, beyond science, beyond understanding, and the town was changed forever. Whispers turned to legend, legends turned to fear, and fear would never let them be the same again. The twins walked home, hand in hand, silent, knowing that the world would now watch every step, every thought, every secret. 1862, a year of war, and now of impossible miracles. The twins' story was only beginning. If you're amazed by the twins' impossible secret, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this story to see how far their powers and their danger will reach. The secret was out, and the world would never let them be. The town was no longer safe. Whispers became screams. Curiosity became obsession. People came from miles away. Scholars, travelers, even those with darker intentions, all wanting to see the twins, all wanting to understand, control, or exploit them. The twins felt the eyes everywhere, on the streets, in the fields, even through closed doors. Their parents grew frantic. "Hide them," the mother cried. But the twins, they couldn't hide. The secret was part of them. It could not be buried. At school, teachers recoiled. Classmates avoided them. Even friends, distant, fearful. One night, a stranger tried to take them, silent, swift, with cold intent. The twins instinctively knew. A candle floated, a window slammed. The intruder fled, eyes wide with terror. The town began to fracture. Fear split families. Neighbors turned on neighbors. "Those children bring doom," some said. "Blessings," others whispered. The twins walked through the chaos, hand in hand, silent guardians of a secret too heavy for anyone else to carry. They learned power attracts attention, and attention can be deadly. By the river, they found solace. The wind whispered, the water spoke. Here, the world couldn't touch them. Here, they were themselves. But even nature had limits. Storms raged outside the sanctuary. Lightning struck, trees fell, and still the world pursued them. The twins began to understand their lives would never be simple. Every act, every thought could spark fear or wonder. They were miracles and threats. 1862, a time of war and unrest, now also a time of fascination and fear. The twins' story had become a storm the world could not ignore, and the impossible secret was no longer safe. It demanded protection and courage. If you're gripped by the twins' struggle, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this story to follow their journey through fear, power, and the impossible. Some secrets are too powerful, too impossible to ever be forgotten. The twins had survived fear, survived curiosity, survived the world itself, but the world would never let them rest. They grew older, stronger, wiser, yet the impossible secret remained. Visitors still came, some for knowledge, some for power, some for reasons darker than night. The twins learned to hide and to reveal. When needed, they moved mountains with silence. They calmed storms with a glance. They healed hearts without touching. Yet the town, the world, could only whisper. They could not comprehend. Legends spread, stories told around fires of two children who saw everything, knew everything, and moved the impossible. Some claimed miracles, some claimed witchcraft, some still sought to control them. The twins, they walked through history quietly, hand in hand, guardians of a secret humanity could not yet explain. And even decades later, whispers remained about the stormy nights, about the birds that obeyed, about the impossible visions, about the twins who could not be understood and should never be forgotten. 1862, a year of war, a year of miracles, now remembered because of two children and a secret that defied everything. If the story of the twins captivated you, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this tale to keep their impossible secret alive and mysterious for generations.